Mediocre Hobbies podcast, The Lion and some more talk around 10th edition. Follow us online. Andy is youtube.com/mediocre hobbies. Tom is at instagram.com/tom.landy.hobby.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mediocre Hobbies podcast with myself, Andy, and Mr. Landy, the co-host. How are you, sir?
Not bad, not bad. Nice to speak to another human that hasn't just been born a week ago.
In case you're wondering, Mr. Landy just had a brand new baby, so congratulations for that. I think that deserves a like, so yeah. I hope you guys stick around and enjoy our conversations around the 10th edition reveals that they've started to ship out quick and fast. And let me know what you think in the comments below.
Good time to be tired, right? Like, good time to read the internet and, edit podcasts and build some Space Marines. It's the way to be.
Where did the Space Marines come from? All of a sudden your thing is popping off, you doing some Space Marines. Where did that come from?
In boxes. Come on now. I'm one of the 10 people that could buy the Lion last week. So I bought the Lion and I was like, well, what I really want is, I was thinking a lot about my kind of 30k idea and how I'm going to build that army and trying to make something that's unique and interesting and different.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I think I'm going to build the story that I want for 10th edition rather than just have 10th edition happen to me.
Very cool.
And it feels like 10th edition is exactly what I want. So assuming this goes into the show, today we found out about how transports work, which is amazing.
Rhinos are going to have different rules. But then someone was like, yeah, it's like the old days where like they can't take Terminators or Aggressors or Centurions, but they think they can still take I hope Intercessors and stuff. So
I really hope so.
Yeah, me too. Big time. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Super important. Yeah, very much so.
No, I want to know what goes in the Rhino. I want to know what goes in the Land Raider. I'm really keen that they've upped the, just allowing regular power armored guys into the repulsor is really important. And so it feels to me a little bit more like what I want from my 40k. I want to be able to do whatever I want within reason and make it happen. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And so order the Lion, me and 9 other people. And he's coming this week. And that's awesome. And so I'm going to have a big guy. I'm going to have a couple of Dreadnoughts. And I've built, what have I built so far? 6 Assault Intercessors. And so I'm just going to see where that goes and build something that I want to build for 10th. I know you've just built one because you've just done the combat one, but how big are those bloody Dreadnoughts?
Which one?
The Redemptor?
I've done 5 of them now. I have 5 fully painted Redemptors. I love them.
I built one when they came out first in, was it 8th? And I was like, this thing's, I'd completely forgotten how big it was. It's so huge. So I've been building Space Marines, waiting for my Lion. Congratulations on getting your Lion on the internet, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So what was the, it was a weird video for you actually from the Lion point of view because you did sub-assemblies. And I don't remember the last time you've done a sub-assembly video.
For big things, I'll do is Gulliman was sub-assembly, well actually just the head and then backpack was off. But
you didn't even, I don't think you did sub-assemblies for Angron, did you?
No.
So then, I think your point is mute, right?
Yeah.
if you're not going to sub-assembly him.
Yeah, that was. I did that deliberately just to it was almost like you don't need to do it sometimes. It's okay. Yeah. You can get the things. It's it's manageable. That's another model I'm super proud of how he turned out.
Yeah, I think he's good.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's just I like Subassembly. I have the little tray thingies that I have.
Oh yeah.
I've got so many of those, and so sometimes I'll just prep a model and all the parts are on those, and I get to work, and it's kind of fun and different, and lavish a little bit of time on him. So, I debated keeping him off the base as well, but I decided not to in the end. That was the other sub-assembly of the Gulliman. He is backpack, head, and then he was off his base. So it was 4 or 5 pieces. So
yeah. What do you think is more, because you've only done Gulliman recently, right? So what do you think are more, excluding the trim, because I know that's a thing, right? But which is a more difficult model overall?
Definitely the Lion.
Okay.
The Guilliman is extremely straightforward because he's blue and gold trim. Like, if you know how to paint blue and gold trim, you're fine. The black armor is always going to be a challenge. And I definitely couldn't do it. Well, I could have done it the same way as my Black Templars, but I spray silver and then I black wash the armor, and then like that's how I do black armor. There's actually not a lot of black armor showing. So I'm going to be trying to work up robes from silver, and that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
So the armor was a pain, and then obviously the different layers of the cloak all being different colors and different colors on the inside and the outside, and then those like they're a nightmare. Like, definitely a beautiful model, but like when they're finished side by side, I prefer my Guilliman to my Lion.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I think they both suffer from the same problem, which is that they're both just big guys. Like I feel like, but I think Guilliman's boring. Like his pose is much more meh. I think he's very good. I don't think they're ever going to replace him. And when they do, it'll be like 15, 20 years. But I just think the Lion is much more interesting, just kind of striding forward rather than just stood still, kind of.
Well, it's supposed to be a standoff. Remember, he was designed to go alongside Abaddon. So they stand off against each other. It looks epic. No, I quite like him. I have no problems with the Primarchs. I don't get the big guy thing either. For me, they definitely have the presence on the table of like Primarchs are walking among us again, and it's special and it's cool.
Yeah, that's another thing. This week has been really heavy for me on how big the Redemptor Dreadnought is. And I'm going to get the Lion, and I'm going to put him next to it, and he's going to look like a child. Because he's big, right? But he's not big.
No, Redemptor, but not even close to Redemptor big. Like, they're all on my blacks. That's why I keep looking over there like a gobshite.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my
no, because you've got your cabinet, right?
Yeah, so I'm looking at Redemptor Dreadnought, and then the Guilliman in front of him, the Lion is there, and like, they're not that size.
And that's the other thing that jumped out to me this week, because I built two of them, and I tried to be dynamic with one of them. And every time I did something, I was like, Andy's got one of these jumping off a thing. Like, how tall is that model? Like, that must be...
So do you want to see how tall it is?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Show you how tall it is, because it's ridiculous.
Can we see it next to the Lion?
Yes.
I'll put some elevator music in this. What do we got?
So we have the Lion, which won't focus because it's that size. So
looks good.
Pretty imposing miniature. Then we have the Dreadnought.
Stupid, right?
Pretty stupid. Like
cool Dreadnought though. I like him. I've kind of gone back and forth on the kind of new Space Marine range, just whether I like them or whether I think they're any good, or like, obviously they're good models, but you know what I mean? Like, do I want them, and do I want to own them, and do I want to play with them? And I've just decided that of course they're great. I should just grow up and stop being a baby. And then I started
you do get into baby mood sometimes. You can moan about things. They're all beautiful. They're beautiful.
But I mean, okay, other people are
the interior of tanks and then seals them.
Yeah, I know.
Because he enjoys painting the interior. I don't know what it is. It's weird. I wouldn't do that. But I'm a big fan of not moving parts. Everything is moved solid. I pick a pose, and then that model is in that pose doing. Like, these people have magnetized everything. I've magnetized everything, so it's way better. And then all their models are like in wanky poses, are all bent, and like guns are swinging off that way because the magnets aren't strong enough. I'm like, stupid.
I'm all for magnetizing things, but only in the sense that I've got an Imperial Guardsman and he's got either a las gun, a melta gun, or a plasma gun. Right? Like that's how I see it. I don't want to magnetize full arm sets. Honestly, I'm much more rule of cool. I don't give a crap what they've got. But
like, starting to see what Psychers do yesterday as well was super. I was like, okay, they're just weapons and stuff. I love this. And then they're like abilities, so easy to manage, so easy. Like, no crazy rolls, no nothing. You're just all right. It happens. I just do jump, okay. And if I jump with too many, it becomes dangerous, which means I probably take some wounds if I roll a bad number. Perfect.
This feels like even more than 7th edition into 8th edition. Feels a lot more like you're going to need to really sit down, blank page, and read your army list, because nothing works the way you. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, nothing works the way it did. No, it works now. No. Like, it's going to be all new, and there was a lot going from 7th into 8th and continued into 9th. That was kind of, we've changed how this works, but it's actually the same thing. It's just got a different word here or a different bit there. this now feels like someone's come in and gone, I don't play 40k, let me write your rule set. Like, it really does feel like it's completely new. And hopefully it'll still, I mean, 7th into 8th, everyone was terrified. Still felt like 40k. When I played it, I was like, yeah, 40k, easy peasy. Didn't understand it, didn't get the rules, took me a long time to learn it, but it still felt like 40k. And this definitely feels like it's gonna be a lot to learn. But I think it's still gonna have that 40k essence, right?
That's the thing I'm nervous about. I don't like learn, like I don't retain information very well. I have to kind of keep learning things.
Yep.
Like if I play up, like my example is like if I have a nice board game, like some of the board games I have, if I play one and then I don't play it for 6 months, I have to learn the rules again. It's all dribbled down my ears, gone. So, but I'm happy with this because like they said, all the rules are going to be on an A4 page. So I'm gonna be like, there's my army rules. Yep. There's the rules for the game, and then I have cards next to each of my units explaining how everything. So I don't need to learn anything. I just right, it's time for my tactical squad to do something. Oh yeah, that's what tactical squad does. Cool, and then move and fight. Yep. I think it's going to make the game a lot more fluid, a lot more fun, a lot more interesting. I think people are going to forget a lot less.
I was a real big fan of Universal Special Rules because it was one rule to rule them all. So, like, if Eldar deep struck, then it was the same deep strike as Space Marines had, or the same deep strike as anything else had. Having 6 different names for the same rule was a bit of an issue. Yes. And going back to that for what Universal Special Rules should have been, i.e. universal rules, I think that's going to make it so much better. I don't mind, I don't understand it, so that might be why I'm saying this. I don't necessarily like how the new command units work, where they kind of join units, and I really like what they did with 8th and 9th with the kind of bubbles and stuff. So maybe I've sorry, maybe I've missed some of that, where there is more opportunity to kind of do a little bit of that, maybe with lieutenants or whatever. I don't know yet. I haven't gone and watched a lot of videos on how that works because I don't necessarily care at this point. That's kind of the least impressive part of the rules we've seen, so I'll get to it. But I think that the thing I'm really interested in is it seems like I can now do whatever I want. I can take a land speeder and it's got like 6 objective control points or whatever it is. Like, that's mental. Like, land speeders are useless, right? Or they have been for 5 editions, and now they're going to be able to secure objectives better than a squad of 5 guys. That's mental. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I kind of might finally get painted another squad of scouts with a new land speeder storm. Have that amazing thing.
Please don't do that, Andy. Don't put yourself through that. Don't. Although land speeder storm, one of the best models from.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Like, so good.
But I like the opposite, like to you. I didn't like the bubble thing with characters. I preferred when they joined units like they used to do in 7, 6, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st. You know, it was only when they really changed that I was like, they don't join anyone, and then it's like, you know, you have to have less than 10 wounds or I can just shoot you, and you've got to have them like hiding behind units so they don't get shot. I'm like, I always like, remember the edition where the things that were closest died first? So you'd have like a squad attack them, and it was like Sergeant Heavy Special all at the back. It was like, this looks stupid. Like, this bothers me.
Did you ever play Warmaster, or is that no? So Warmaster was good. The thing that was brilliant about Warmaster was that you had to have lots of characters to issue orders, and if you didn't have units in particular parts of the battlefield, they could still react and do things, but they were just less coherent. So you might want them to move and charge and whatever, and you'd basically have to do a test to see if they could do that. If you had a character nearby, they could be
wargaming rules more than.
But they could be issued orders, right? So it makes perfect sense. I really like the idea. That's kind of where I think of the bubbles. I feel like there's a sergeant over there, and he affects people within whatever his comms range is, right, or whatever. Yeah. The fact that there's a guy who's controlling a unit, I feel has less. Well, I haven't seen the rules, so I'm hypothesis, right? But if there's a Space Marine captain and he's joined a unit of Terminators, who's running the battle? Like, surely it's still him, right? Even though he's with that unit. So I kind of like the bubble aspect, so he can affect more things. I couldn't care less how they do it. It'll be fine. It'll be good fun. I'm also pumped to get guys back into units. I love the idea of having it's one of the best things about Heresy is like you've got particular guys that you would normally have as what now became the kind of lieutenant standard. Like, you've got apothecaries and whatever, and they can just join units in certain armies and just be the 12th guy, because you've got a 10-man squad, a captain, and an apothecary or whatever. Like, that's cool. I love that idea. You think of an army as you build it now, that's what you're going to have in 10th edition as well. You're going to have your troops, you're going to have your core, you're going to have your HQ, heavy support, whatever. But then you look at it and you go, well, actually, you're doing the first company. So all Terminators in this army get +2 OC. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a simple rule like that. And then all of a sudden, a 5-man squad becomes a 15-man squad in terms of objective control.
Yeah.
2 up. Like, that's all it's going to take. And I got so excited just then thinking about that. Because it's literally, you just do that with everything. And you go, White Scars. Okay, so bikes, any kind of bike. So Outriders, that's what they're called? Yeah. Space Marine bikes, Scout bikes, Land Speeders, they're all +2 OC or whatever, you know?
It could even be as simple as like characters have the extra rule. So they join a unit. It's like, we're going to go take that objectives. Once the characters in that unit, they all get +2 to there, and it's suddenly it's a beastly squad.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a standard rule for like Space Marine captains, just like double objective control within X range. Like, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I'd also really like, and there's been no indication they're doing this, I'd really like if they did a bit more of what they do in Heresy in terms of breaking down the specialisms inside the character units. Like, so, don't know if you play Heresy, but in Heresy, you basically have he's like on the command line, he is the boss. The Praetor is like the boss of the Legion. Below him, there's a Centurion, and every kind of specialism falls under that. So you can have like your Librarian, Centurion, you can have like, your Master of the Medicae, and, all this kind of stuff. I would love if they did more of that with the units as well. Like, there's one, I think he might be Alpha Legion only, maybe I'm wrong on that, but like there is a HQ sniper guy in Heresy, because of course there would be. Why wouldn't there be? And I think if they do that, and they don't even have to do it day one, but if they give you that option and then go, well, if you really want to do Raven Guard and you want to do stealth and sniping or whatever, here's a guy that you can build. Yeah,
I get exactly what you mean, and I totally agree. That'd be super amazing, just to like give us back our Space Marine captain in a box with every option under the sun and build.
Sure. I mean, but also, I mean, I definitely feel the swing is back towards that. Like, if you look at the last Lieutenant that came out, he's very much that, right?
Yeah,
he's in the
covers all the bases.
Yeah, and I'm not overly worried about buying a box that doesn't do everything I want. I'm okay for them to restrict things so that they can balance the game. I say balance with bunny ears, obviously, because you can never balance the game, but I'm okay with them trying. I'm fine with that. But what I would like, which I think we're talking about, is options to do what I want, and then see what we can do when they kind of go, God, the game's getting a bit stale, isn't it? How about we do 2 more Space Marine companies that you can do? There you go. Boom. Everything changes with 4 pages of rules.
Yep. That's what I think the codexes will bring. That, like, we'll get the initial flavor with the indexes. We'll play games for 3 months, and then all of a sudden enough armies will have codexes that the game will slightly change again. It'll shift on its axis.
Yep.
And I'm definitely excited to see where it goes from there. I think it's finally them going in like the right direction. I'm pumped for where it's going and what it's going to look like and how it's going to feel and how it's going to play. And I think it's definitely going to appeal to a lot of people. And hopefully it'll bring a lot of people out who left and got fed up or annoyed and come back in and try it out again. So yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited. All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of the podcast. We had a blast having a chat and natter about 10th edition and some other bits and pieces, depending on what Mr. Landy decided to put in this episode from what we recorded, but we'll see. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and all the other good stuff. That means the podcast gets pushed out to more people to enjoy it. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.